Today, I'm talking about MIDI Designer and using that along with DOREMIDI, which is a MIDI to DMX translator, and using those tools to control these DMX lights that I have behind me. I gotta turn them on. All right, so the power's on these things. So I'm going to jump to a different screen here. I'm going to try to do this really quickly here. So here you can see MIDI Designer. This is an app that you can get for free, and you can pay for like a professional version of it where you can set up more pages. But as you can see there, I have on MIDI Designer. Let me pull it up here so I can actually look at it. Here I've got it set up to do many different things. So I use this as a way to just say this tool, MIDI Designer, is a phenomenal tool. So you can see if I click mic mute, it just mutes the mic, and I've got these buttons to set up to do different things. So, for the purposes of this, I'm just going to jump into how it's affecting the MIDI to DMX. But I'm going to make other videos on the different purposes that I've used MIDI Designer for, because I have it communicating with multiple different devices that I use for sound production. So these buttons here are the MIDI to DMX lights. So I'm going to, you'll see these lights turn on here. I'm going to put the dimmer on, and we're going to put red. Boom, and we get red. And then we can click mode strobe. Boom, it's strobing. I'm going to click outer RGB. You can see we got the outer RGB going on there, and it changes colors. I'm going to select different colors here. You see we get different colors. And then we can change the effect speed. So these are different DMX settings that are specific to these lights, which are OPSK strobe lights. And then let's see if these ones do anything. Yeah, these are other lights that OPSK sent me to test out, and overall I like them. They're maybe a little underpowered in terms of they're not so strong, but they're still pretty cool. They have the strobe and everything. All right, so that shows you that it works. Okay, so now let's jump into, I'll show you, let's jump into the design side of this. So if as you saw, I clicked to more, and then I clicked design. And now we're going to look at one of these buttons. So if I double click on one of these buttons, a little menu comes up here. And we have properties, and so I named this button dimmer, and its subtype is toggle, so it just toggles on or off. And now if we go to the MIDI tab here, you'll see the message type is a control change, and the channel CC is 14 and 51. So if I click here, you can see you've got a channel side here, which is selected to 14, and then the CC number is 51. So what that means is, if I exit the design mode, if I click on this button here, it's going to send that MIDI CC. It's going to send on channel 14 the CC of 51. So now, if I look into configuration, you'll see down here, if I scroll down, we've got hardware and virtual destinations. So I'm not using any hardware or virtual sources for MIDI data, but I am using destinations. And so here you can see the DOREMIDI MTD 1024. So MIDI Designer is sending any MIDI data. It gets sent to the DOREMIDI. It also gets sent to my mixer, the XR18 Behringer mixer, and also the Voice Live rack, which are different devices that I'm using. Now, I've set up the DOREMIDI that when it receives a signal on channel 14 for a variety of CC codes. All these buttons that I have set up have a different CC code. On channel 14, for these 11 buttons, these are all on channel 14. These are on, I've put to channel 6, I believe, or perhaps channel 9, I can't remember. But we're going to take a look here at the DOREMIDI. So if I go in here and open up my iPhone, we're going to look at the DOREMIDI here. So this is the DOREMIDI device. You can see from a distance, it's this small device. I've got an out, a DMX out. And I'm just going to pull this into the light a little bit here so I can actually stand up and be on the mic. So we're going to get right up in here. So as you can see, I'm going to try to put this on my hand so I can get a nice close view. As you can see, you've got the first category, which says SN. And then the next category is a little bit hard to see with how the lights are acting with the camera, is DMX. So the SN is just the sort of number of that line. It's just like a bullet number. So you're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down. As many settings as you create. It's just the number of that setting. The DMX number is something you can change, and so the DMX number, as you know, if you're familiar with DMX, you got to set your DMX lights to be certain channel numbers, and then the DMX number is going to align with a particular control within that DMX light. And so if we've got DMX for DMX1, I then have associated DMX1 with CC 51 on channel 14. And then the last thing that says 1 there means that this will function. And if you change that, it can only be a 1 or a 0. And if it's a 0, it won't work. And then if I press the button, the knob here in to cycle through here, we'll get to a different side of the menu. And then here you have some other settings. The one is from the previous side. And then you have fix, which is basically the signal amount that you want the DMX to hold. So the dimmer, this is the SN1 I have set to be the dimmer, and so when I trigger the dimmer, it's going to set to 220 out of, I believe it's like 255 is what I've set for here. Is that right? I've got 230 set there. And then we've got FAL and FAO. That's fade in and fade out. And so you have speeds that you can set for fade in and fade out. And so I've set those to 10. So it's a nice slow, and it's out of 25, I believe, on each of those. And so it's a nice, or maybe it might be 50, but it's a nice slow fade that I've set there. And then the last one is also, if you don't have that set to 1, it's not going to work. And so that's really all it is you set what DMX number it is. So we'll cycle back to that front page so you can see that. So as you see, SN 1, 2, 3. So the 3 inputs I've put so far, I just set to DMX 1, 2, and 3. My strobe lights are set to 11 channel DMX. So and I've set them to the same setting of A001, the same address. So both strobe lights are going to respond to the same DMX signals. And since there are 11 channels, I've got 11 different sort of inputs there, SN numbers. And so as you can see for each one, you got on the first one, I've put DMX1, CC 51 on channel 14. The next one is CC 52 on channel 14. and the next one is CC53 on channel 14. So that's how the setup goes with the DOREMIDI, and it really is that simple. And using the I'm going to switch back out of the iPhone view here. So using the MIDI Designer app, you'll see if you get this. It's pretty straightforward. There's a ton of customizability, and there's a ton of aspects to the MIDI Designer app that I haven't even seen yet. There's so much in this app, but for the most basic functionality, it's not really that complex. And so, as I showed you earlier, through the configuration screen, you're able to choose where this app is sending a MIDI signal. And I'm even in the midst of figuring out how to send a MIDI signal through this app to other apps, which I think is going to be really useful for certain plugins that I run. But yeah, with that said, I'll just demo this one more time. We'll put the dimmer on. Those lights come on. I've got the mode strobe that can go on. We've got different settings with some white lighting. And I can control all this right in from the same screen as what I'm able to control the most important aspects of what I need to use on a quick basis for my mixer, and also my vocal processor, and also the other lights. And I'm also, like I said, I'm setting up this MIDI Designer to be able to control, hopefully I can figure out how to control the switching instruments on my keyboards through this MIDI Designer. So it's a remarkable app. It's very powerful, and pairing it with this DOREMIDI, you can use this to control your DMX lights. I hope this video was useful to you. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. And with that said, see you in the next video.